Hi Year 8 and welcome to this week's Year 8 ALPS Maths lesson. As we've been looking at fractions so far the last few weeks, I thought we'd do some work today on improper and mixed number fractions. So our challenges today are to be able to identify whether a number is improper or not, to demonstrate how to convert between improper and mixed number fractions, and hopefully some of you will be able to give me a trick for converting between the two. So let's start with our first task of identifying an improper fraction. Do you know what an improper fraction is? Pause the video and write down what you think an improper fraction is. Pause the video now. Okay, let's have a look if you were correct. An improper fraction is also known as a top-heavy fraction, and it's when the numerator, the number on the top, is greater than the denominator, the number on the bottom. This means that the fraction is greater than 1, or maybe 2, or even more. Let's have a look at some examples of deciding if a fraction is proper or improper. So my first fraction is 8 over 3. 8, the numerator, is bigger than 3. So that is an example of an improper fraction. It is more than 1. What about 2 over 8? Where do you think that should go? That's less than 1, a proper fraction, because the numerator is smaller. 4 over 7 is my next example. And that's also a proper fraction, as the numerator is smaller than the denominator. What about 6 over 2? That one doesn't look as good. The numerator's bigger on that one, so that must be an improper fraction, more than 1. 5 over 18 is a proper fraction. It is smaller on the top. And 5 over 4 is an improper fraction, bigger on the top. 7 over 20 is a proper fraction because 7 is smaller. What about 15 over 11? Where do you think that should go? Correct, it should be on the improper fraction. It is more than 1 because 15 is bigger than 11. Couple more examples. 9 over 12 is a proper fraction because 9, the numerator, is smaller. And 12 over 4 is an improper fraction. Well done if you said it, because 12 is larger than 4. What about 7 over 2? It's also an improper fraction, because 7 is larger than 2. And the laws of odds suggest that this should be a proper fraction, because I've only got one space left, but let's just double check. Is 3 smaller than 5? Yes. And there we have some examples of some improper fractions that are more than 1 and proper fractions that are less than 1. So I would like you to go back onto our Google Classroom and have a go at task number 1, more or less than 1. For each fraction, you need to select if it is more than 1, an improper fraction, or less than 1, a proper fraction. Pause the video now. How did you get on? Did you get a good score? I know you did. So, let's have a look at our second task today, which is being able to convert from an improper fraction into a mixed number fraction. This is where we use a whole number and a proper fraction with it. I've got 2 examples here to show you, and I'm going to show you using diagrams. Now, I'm going to draw these diagrams, so they're not going to be perfect, but hopefully you'll be able to see what we need to do. My first example is 7 over 5. This is an improper fraction because the numerator, 7, is bigger than the denominator, 5. The denominator tells me what sort of fractions we are looking at. So in this example, we are looking at fifths. I'm going to write that next to it. Fifths. If I was to take a circle as my diagram and split it into 5 equal sections, it would look something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My question, 7 fifths, says I need to shade in 7 fifths of a shape. If I use a different coloured pen, here I have 1 fifth, 2 fifths, 3 fifths, 4 fifths, and 5 fifths. But I need 7 fifths. So I'm going to draw another one. Here's another circle, carefully split into 5 equal-ish sections. How did I get up to? 1 fifth, 2 fifths, 3 fifths, 4 fifths, 5 fifths, and if I keep going, 6 fifths, and 7 fifths. How many whole circles have I coloured in? I've coloured in 1 whole circle. 1 whole one. How many fifths do I have left in my second circle? I have 2 fifths left. So 7 over 5 as a mixed number fraction is 1 and 2 fifths. Let's have a look at the second example, 10 thirds. So for this question, we are looking at thirds. I'm a bit bored of circles now, so let's have a go. Because we're doing thirds, let's do triangles. So there's my triangle. And I split it into 3 equal sections, thirds. And the question says I want 10 thirds. So let's start colouring them in. 1 third, 2 thirds, 3 thirds. I've run out, so I need to do another one. Let's draw another triangle. Where did I get to? 1 third, 2 thirds, 3 thirds. Start colouring in again. 4 thirds, 5 thirds, 6 thirds. Oh, I've run out again. Let's draw another triangle. Where did I get to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 thirds, 8 thirds, 9 thirds. Oh, dear me, there's a lot in this one. Let's try again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 thirds I've shaded in now. Oh, my shading hasn't worked on that example. There we go. Okay. How many whole triangles have I coloured in? I've coloured in all of this one, all of this one, and all of this one. I have coloured in 3 whole triangles. And how much do I have left in my last triangle? I've got 1/3 left. So 10/3, the improper fraction, is 3 1/3 as a mixed number fraction. So for your next task, I'd like you to go back onto Google Classroom and have a go at task number 2, improper to mixed number fractions. You might find it helpful to use a bit of paper and use the examples that I've just done to help you. So draw the shapes and colour in the pieces. Pause the video now. I hope you got on okay with that. I know it's really difficult. For our last task, we're going to work backwards. So this time I've got a mixed number fraction and I want to see what that will be as an improper fraction. My first example is 1 3/4. So I've done a circle and a triangle. I think I'm going to do a square this time. So I have got 1 whole one. That means that I can colour in a whole square. I've also got 3/4. That means I've also got to colour in 3/4 of a square. So split it into 4 and I'm going to colour in 3 of them. I'm going to look at that first square and I'm going to say I can split that into 4/4 too. It's still all coloured in, so it's still a whole one. But now I can count how many quarters I have coloured in all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1 3/4 as an improper fraction is 7/4. How good's that? One last example before I run out of time. 3 4/7. I'm going to go back to circles for this one. 1, 2, 3 whole ones. Let's colour those in. 1, 2, 3 whole ones. And then I want 4/7 of my last one. I'm not very good at splitting into sevenths. I don't know if you're any better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7 sections. And I want to colour in 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then like we did with the other example, I can split my circles into 7 sections too. Well, that one's a bit better, isn't it? 7's a really hard one to do. So how many 7ths have I coloured in all together? There are 7 here, and 7 here, and 7 here, and 4 here. What does that make? 7, 14, 21. 25 7ths is the improper fraction. Woo! So your final task today is task number 3 on Google Classroom, and this time you are converting from a mixed number back to an improper fraction. I would suggest you use some paper and draw the diagrams to help you work out the answers. Make sure you have completed all 3 tasks by 3 p.m. on Thursday and hand in your work. I will get that marked and back to you before next week. Good luck!